Hello and welcome to Shay Zasaa and a Zasaa Zooms In. Today I have got with me Riyike and Kemi. And you've seen both of them before, though Kemi you haven't seen for a while, so I've held her. We're going to be talking today about, we've titled it Navigating Life, and we're looking at 40 and beyond. And I think we're going to specifically be talking more about things like perimenopause, the changes that happen and whatnot. So, okay, let me start with you, Riyike, so we don't throw Kemi in the deep end, because she's already thinking, what am I doing here? I think this, we know as women that menopause is going to happen to all of us. There's no way around it. So perimenopause, from what I understand, I've done a show on menopause before, but from what I understand, menopause can take up to, in fact, actually, what I was told was menopause is one day. Everything is perimenopause until that one day that you can say you've stopped your period for 1 year. And then everything after that is post menopause. Okay. So menopause is actually just the one day.
Just the day.
But everything else, everything else is on the way to menopause, and it can take up to 10 years. So what do you want to say about this, please, Ricky?
I think for me it's a little bit different because, like I was saying to Kemi, I've had a hysterectomy.
Oh, so did that send you straight into menopause?
No, my ovaries were not removed. So I still, for a while, you still feel like you're going to have a period, but then the period doesn't actually come.
Okay.
You still have all the symptoms,
How does that make
moodiness,
sense?
because your ovaries are still there. They're still tricked into believing that they're releasing,
But
it's not going anywhere.
Okay, why?
So they don't take the ovaries out just so you don't go straight into menopause.
Okay.
So they want you to still, kind of have time to get there. So for me, because I don't have a period, I don't know when, when will I get into menopause per se. But I started to feel different things, and I started to be like, am I okay? Like, is this normal?
Oh my gosh.
I started to, I feel hot all the time. Like, I'm like, my body's boiling over. And I would be sleeping and I would wake up and I would be drenched in sweat. So I knew once the sweat portion came in, I realized that I wasn't going crazy. Because before that, I would have things, I would just be moody for no reason. Or I would be, and then I remember, somehow, I don't know how it happened. I was just on Instagram one day and suddenly there was this, it was like every second video I saw was on menopause or perimenopause. So I was like, okay, maybe God is trying to tell me something that, you need to listen to what is going on with you at this, right now. So I started to, because I was getting headaches and I used to be able to sleep. Sleep was no longer a thing. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night and just be awake, and I would not sleep till, for hours, and then maybe I would fall asleep towards morning. But it was really interrupting my life. And so when I started to see all those videos and stuff, I was like, okay, so I'm not losing my mind. This is normal. This is happening. I did speak with my doctor, but my doctor is very old-fashioned. She was like, you still have time. I'm thinking, but I'm feeling all these things. What do you mean by I still have time? I'm like, is there something I should be doing? Is there something I should be using? She sent me to do tests. She said, oh, your levels are fine. You don't need anything. But I kind of figured I needed something. So I've been trying to research it. But it's very difficult because a lot of people don't know, these things. For example, there was one that was interesting to me, was that I found that people talked about itchy skin.
Yeah.
And that maybe it's a particular part of your body and it would just be itchy. And an older friend of mine came and we were talking, and as she was leaving, she was scratching her, I think it was her thigh, or it was her back. And she said, I don't know what's wrong with me. This skin on my back just itches. And I started to laugh. And she said, what? I said, it's menopause. And she said, what do you mean? Why would itchy skin? I said, I just saw this video yesterday. That itchy skin in a particular location. I said, so it's so amazing to find out how many different things could be a sign, and that there's not that much information out there to tell you, okay, this is what you should do, or these are the things that can suppress it. But I'm glad that a lot of women are beginning to advocate for themselves.
Yeah, well, actually, going to say, but part of that is because I think people used to look at it as a thing of shame. Period is a whole thing of shame. So you're not even going to be talking about it. So we then just didn't talk about it, and I'm glad that now people are talking about it, and it's much more out there. Now, you said that you are going into menopause ignorantly. What does that mean?
It just means that as it goes, for example, now I'm here, and I'm hearing all these things, especially this itchy skin thing. And you know the funniest thing is, there's a part of my back that itches all the time. I'm always screaming for the kids to come and scratch it. I have a broken hanger in my room that I use the same place. I'm telling you. And my kids say, "Mommy, maybe the place is dry," and they will come and apply cream on my back, but it's exactly the same. So actually, you know the funny thing, I thought that it was because my hand wasn't reaching that place properly when I cream my body, but now I see that it could be.
Yeah.
You know, and what I'm saying, why I say that I'm going in ignorantly is because I don't know and I haven't educated myself about these symptoms and things that I should be looking out for. So, for example, things that I should be looking out for, and maybe even supplements I should be taking to help myself. So, for example, anytime I complain about something, my sister always says, "Oh, Kemi, you know you're about that age," and it does piss me off because I'm thinking it's a life sentence. So now it's like your life sentence to being overweight, your life sentence to having this ache. You know, there's no more. Okay, I'm going to go to the doctor and there's going to be a remedy. It's all just menopause. I know it's amazing that you say that menopause is one day. Like, you know, for example, for me, all my life I've wanted to get to that menopause place because I've always had bad periods, a real pain, lots of bleeding. And then to find out that it's not just one day that you know it's going to happen and then that's the end of it. But yeah, it's going to be all these hormonal upheavals up and down. Yeah. It's really, for me, it's very shocking.
And you know, it's funny because now, I mean, I don't know about, obviously, I don't know because we all live in different countries, but certainly amongst my peers, you know, everybody's going somewhere holding a fan, like you said, like, and I said to one of my friends one day, I said, "But did our mothers go around holding a fan? Is it that they didn't, you know?" Because I feel I spoke to one of my cousins who
climate change.
I was just going to say, I spoke to one of my cousins, and she's vegan. And she said to me, "Okay, go vegan. It's what you're eating that is going to make the difference." And I wonder if our parents back in Nigeria were not eating better, that it didn't affect. I'm not saying they went through menopause, or women go through menopause, but it didn't seem to, or maybe we were just not paying attention. I know for a fact, my mom, when I called my mom to say, "What were your own symptoms?" She said, "Oh, she just found out one day that her period had stopped." Literally how we expected it to happen. But then I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, "I remember when my mom would be searching around the house for her glasses and they'll be on her head." So, you know, potentially that we would just say, "Oh, it's absent-mindedness, etc." But that was potentially when she was going through menopause, but we didn't identify it as, "Oh, she's just so absent-minded." And that's what she would say, "Oh, she's just so absent-minded." But now that you know, like I'm looking at the symptoms and the things, I'm thinking, actually, that might have been, but there was nothing, there was no fan holding and, you know, drama around it. It didn't seem. So I wonder if there isn't something to what we eat and you know, how it affects.
To speak to that, actually, when you were talking about sweating at night and having this night sweats, one thing that I realized was that when I eat a certain type of food and I eat late, I don't sleep well. I toss and turn, and then I sweat a lot at night. And I've spoken to a friend of mine, and she says the same thing. That, you know, when she eats heavy carbs at night, she's really sweating in the middle of the night. And that's just started happening to me. And then I decided to cut that off at night, and I realized that I no longer sweat at night when I sleep. You know, so you're right. It might be the things that we're eating around this time of our lives also that might change. Because I can remember my mom didn't eat late, actually. So think about that. It wasn't, and I guess maybe it was just their lifestyle at that time, at that point in time. Because remember, we ate at the table and there was time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, and dinner was probably around 6, 7. You know, we didn't eat really late, and then there was a lot of activity before going to bed. So I guess, you know, lifestyle changes also could affect the way we are experiencing menopause now.
Yeah, I think definitely go on.
I don't know. For me, I think that there's more. So most of our parents at 50 were kind of winding down. A lot of them were, like I always say to a lot of people, I'm like, when I remember my mom at 50, I remember her as mommy, like old. Not that she was old, but she was already, you know, mommy waiting. But I see a lot of 50-year-olds today, even 60-year-olds, who are like I'm having the time of my life. I look like I looked when I was 40. I can do the things that I could do when I was 40. So it's easier now to be able to identify things than for them. They were home.
Yeah.
Even if she was uncomfortable, she could put on the fan.
Yeah.
But now you are on the go,
Yeah.
but you are hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's a little different. And I think for everybody, and for them, it was kind of conditioning as well. It's a time of life. It's going to happen. It's what it is. But there were some people who had it differently. Because I remember when I started to have this conversation with a friend of mine, she said that for a number of years that they thought her mom was dying.
Oh, wow.
She was sick. There was no explanation for it. She was just, it was almost like an imaginary sickness. There was something wrong with her here. There was something wrong with her there. They thought she was losing her mind. And it was menopause.
It was menopause. Oh, my gosh.
And she was like that for a couple of years before, it kind of settled down, and now she's fine. So for everybody, I think it's a little different, but also because we are kind of more, we're different at this age.
Yeah.
Like our lives are so different now. We're so, we're everywhere, we're doing things, and it's more, you're more likely to notice that you are dying while you are. But if you were at home and your kids are, and you're like, put on the fan or put on the air conditioning.
And the truth is that our parents, we were in a hot country, so the fan could easily have been on, and we wouldn't have identified it as a hot flush or whatever was happening. Okay, I'm going to. I said I was going to go. I want to Google the symptoms so that we can educate you on what's the.
Oh no, but this headache thing. For the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've been waking up, and I normally don't have headaches. I've been waking up with this feeling of, like, it's not congestion because I'm not breathing differently, but like really heaviness in my head. And then there comes also this very embarrassing one, the snoring. It's really the one that is, I don't know if it's the weight or the snoring. The snoring is like, mom, it's like, what, sometimes, because my husband is not around, my kids, come and sleep with me. No, we're not doing that. It's not happening.
They would like to have a good night's sleep.
Exactly. And I never used to snore. Tinubu, can you remember that we shared a room at Wale's thing?
Yeah.
And you guys said, oh, maybe I snored a bit because I was saying something about my sister. And I will happily share a room with anyone.
Anybody.
Now, if I'm going somewhere, I'm having my room on my own. It's not happening. For me, it's so embarrassing. Because I've recorded myself.
Oh, wow.
Like, no.
So, and you think that I've never heard of snoring?
I don't know if it's part of it.
Okay, I'm going to go to the NHS, just because that, there are plenty of things on there. So, okay.
It's amazing how we're talking now and everything is coming out. And then, this is going to go live.
Don't worry, nobody's going to judge you. Be kind, all right?
Kemi, let's share a room. We're going off. So I'm like, no, did you not hear that?
Kemi snores. Yeah, nobody share with Kemi. Okay, mental health symptoms, which is one that I think that we tend not to pay too much attention to.
Yeah.
So changes to your mood, like low mood, anxiety, mood swings, and low self-esteem. Now, see, okay, let's even go through this now. Low mood, anxiety, mood swings, I don't think, I had to check with Wale the other day, am I moody? I don't think I have, but that's low self-esteem. I don't really have it, but my body has changed. Like, my body is not my body. So it's not so much low self-esteem. I mean, it's my body, obviously my body, but it's not so much low self-esteem as it is, this is not my body now.
Your spirit is saying something else, and your body
Yes, this is not how my body looked last time I checked. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Looks
weight
and feels.
and feels, yes, exactly. So I think maybe, I don't know, can you identify? You spoke about mood swings earlier.
Oh, yes. And for me, I felt that, because periods, you also experience that with having periods. Yeah. But then I haven't had periods for more than 5 years now. So I'm like, why do I still feel, and that anxiety portion, I started to feel, I would say to my husband, I'm like, there's nothing really wrong, but I just feel anxious. I just feel that there's something, like I'm just worried and I can't see anything. There's nothing going on, but it's just there at the back of my mind.
I never thought of anxiety. I mean, I know that, mood swings, everything, but I would never have put anxiety. So that's news to me.
And I wonder, sometimes, how do you deal with anxiety and how do you deal with moods? I think that, maybe that's one of the things that I didn't recognize. And then my solace was food. Is then when you go and then you eat. And then I gained weight.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was thinking that, okay, maybe the weight, because that was when I now started this snoring thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, is it related to menopause or is it related to the weight gain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So then the next one, problems with memory or concentration, brain fog. I mean, this one for me is like I can't remember what happened 3 minutes before, but I can remember details of, it's just weird. So that brain, and I'll just be, brain fog. This one, I think if I was to choose one symptom that I can say has affected me in this period, it would be
brain
this.
fog. I can relate to that because I remember sometimes you just halfway during the day you think to myself, what did I eat today? And I cannot remember. I ate this thing, and I have to sit down and think, okay, really, what have I eaten today? And then I now start recalling what I'm eating. But to immediately say that this is what I've eaten today, you just suddenly just have that, brain fog.
Mine is when they say, what did you do today? I'm like, I have no idea. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, how can I not? An entire day and I can't remember. And then I have to really dig deep to find it. So I can't imagine. I mean, I don't find myself in a situation where I'm in a boardroom with, but I can't imagine going through this and being in the working environment where I have to come up with something
on the spot.
And I can't.
So, my mom is going to be 80 next year and she's still working. And so I think that's another thing is when you keep yourself active. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that's one of the things, that helps. If someone was telling me that, okay, even just sitting on the phone and just doing a game, like, one of these puzzles or stuff that also helps to keep your brain
absolutely,
going.
because my grandmother was we used to call her super grand, and she was doing crosswords every day. She did like 6-7 crosswords. She was always doing crosswords, so it keeps keeps your brain sharp. So okay, crosswords, that's your assignment.
Oh no, I've always been able, like, those kind of things. I don't think that for me that hasn't been the immediate issue. Mine is remembering like little things, so it's not the big things. So like if I remember that I need to buy something, for example, I have to put it down because I forget. Or walking into a room and being like, why am I here?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Why did I come here? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Or sometimes I have to walk back
out, to where you were.
Then go start from the beginning and be like, okay, trace my steps back, and then I will remember. But memory-wise, my memory is still, sometimes I hate my memory because it won't stop. So I remember things I shouldn't, so I'm like, but with those little things, it's just the little things that,
Okay.
And I guess AI doesn't help us now. Like my phone, I just put it behind me right now. I could walk out there and think myself, oh, where's my phone? But then I'll just go and ping it. My kids keep saying to me, Mommy, just stop, think about the last time you used it. Because that way you're using your brain. If not. Yeah, it's just good.
I even still try to remember phone numbers and things like that. I know it's not, nobody's doing that anymore, but I'm like, I need to remember this thing so that my brain is not, I'm not completely reliant on my phone. If my phone is missing and I need to call someone right away and I get like, but I can remember a few.
So probably those numbers, numbers that you remember, the numbers that you've had, that people have had before we could.
Chester 35324. That was my great grandmother's phone number. So I remember it, but you know what I mean?
We were sitting talking about Nitel phones the other day, and I was like, oh, I remember our phone number, and I remember my neighbor's number, and but now a lot of people don't even know the number to begin with.
I actually made my children learn our numbers off by heart because I was like, what if you don't have your phone? You need to be able to tell someone the number to call. So okay, physical symptoms: hot flushes, when you have sudden feelings of hot or cold in your face, neck, and chest. I didn't know that cold, which can make you dizzy. Interesting. Okay, difficulty sleeping, which may be as a result of night sweats and make you feel tired and irritable during the day. Palpitations, when your heartbeats become more noticeable.
That happens intermittently. I've had that one time where I thought I might be having a heart attack. And I was like sitting there and I was thinking, okay, breathe.
It's crazy. Headaches and migraines that are worse than usual. You spoke about that. This one, muscle aches and joint pains.
So that I can...
Muscles, you didn't even know that they existed before. And suddenly now you're like, how is it, like this, like it's like a pain here. And you're like, it's not... nothing hit you or anything, but now you're...
It's like that thing, is it cold shoulder? I think they say cold shoulder is like it doesn't say it here, but I've heard that before. Okay, changed body shape and weight gain. That's one I fully identify with. Skin changes, including dry and itchy skin. Reduced sex drive. Vaginal dryness and pain, itching or discomfort during sex. Oh, recurrent unitary. Oh my God.
Urinary
tract infection. Recurrent urinary tract infections. It's funny because I had a situation recently where I was dealing with an elderly lady and she was very confused. And when I spoke to the nurse, she said it could be a UTI.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that UTIs can make
Yeah,
you.
it causes.
wow.
Yeah.
I've that has not to me, but I've seen that happen.
Because
to
she
someone.
literally
And they say,
said
"Oh,
to me-
she's confused, and it's the UTI."
No, because they said to me,
wow.
we need to test her for a UTI to see if it's dementia or if it's just that she has a UTI. I was like, what's that got to do with it? They said
I think-
in
Yeah.
older people,
Feel,
it tends
yeah.
to make them confused. I didn't know that. Okay, sensitive teeth, painful gums, or other mouth problems. Interesting. Do you have that?
No. Sensitive teeth, yes.
Have you always had them though? Because I guess it will depend
No, actually,
on.
no, I haven't. But then it could be so many things because I chew ice.
But I've told you what that is. That's iron deficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chewing ice. So you need to go and check your iron. Have you checked your iron? I'm pretending I'm a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
Disclaimer.
But I think they say
that's
that when
what-
you
they
chew
do say
iron,
that,
it's because
No,
you
but
have
I think after you said that, I checked my my iron, and my doctor said it was okay. But that's another thing. This is going
I had an iron deficiency for many, and that was also part of the
bleeding,
period
yeah.
issues that I was having. So I do identify with the chewing of the ice.
Yeah.
Especially even during pregnancy, I was just chewing ice all the time. So I can.
Yeah, but I think during pregnancy is slightly different because
Yeah.
something is happening to
Yeah.
your body
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
But if it's your norm, okay, I've gone somewhere else because that's I don't know. NHS only gave us those. Like, they didn't even touch on some of the symptoms that.
Because I've been to Africa.
Okay, so this is someone else. I don't know who. It's a picture. So there's brain fog. We've dealt with that. Headaches, migraines, hot flushes, night sweats, sore breasts, irregular periods. Okay, we expect that. Vaginal dryness, loss of bladder control, urgency to pee. Now,
I heard that was funny. I saw that on Instagram, and all the women, which was weird to me, they were like, "Oh, someone was like, oh, she cannot even make it, like, especially if it's at night and she's in bed,
Oh, wow.
that she almost cannot make it to the bathroom." And I'm like, I find that I need to pee more, but not that I can't make it to the bathroom, but I just realized that frequency of urination is definitely a thing.
Yeah. I think I agree.
I'm
with
definitely
that.
peeing at least 3-4 times a night.
Oh no.
Sometimes,
I'm
I'm getting, and my worry is that I would get up and then I won't be able to go back to sleep.
Of
yeah.
course, because nice has interrupted.
Because if you hold it, you're not going to go to sleep
Exactly.
anyway.
So you're there lying there and you're like, oh God. And then you get up and go pee and then you come back and you're like.
There's one here that's okay. So there's tingling extremities.
Okay, yes. So
I get that actually.
Yeah.
And if it's so interesting, okay, there's shortness of breath. So I'm just going to pick out the ones we haven't already dealt with. Changes in body odor. Someone was saying to me that, I smell so different. But what I was asking her was, I wonder if, because I can't smell it. So I think maybe we can just smell it
Smell
on ourselves as
ourselves.
opposed to everybody's
Everybody
smell. I don't know, but anyway. Did I say shortness of breath?
Yeah.
Shortness of breath. Okay. Burning mouth syndrome. Don't know.
Yeah.
What's that?
So do you know the funny thing? I was actually Googling that because I have this feeling that I'm really thirsty and I feel like it's not like peppery. It's this burning sensation in my tongue. I'm on my tongue.
I've never heard of that before.
That I actually, I Googled it. I don't want to say some things.
You learn something new
No,
every
but the
day.
thing is, I Googled it and I was like, okay, do you know what am I going to tell my doctor? How am I going to explain what is going on with me? Because he already thinks I'm crazy. So, yeah. So I actually Googled it, like, burning sensation on my tongue, burning sensation in my mouth,
And
but
I tell you menopause.
No.
Can you imagine? Okay, so the last one here says dry eyes and changes in vision. But the one here that I was actually going to put, it says vertigo and changes in hearing. And I literally was at the doctor's yesterday with vertigo because I've been going dizzy. And one of the questions she asked me, she said, are you getting tingliness in you? So it's like all this. So I'm now actually thinking, okay, maybe this is actually menopause related. She didn't say that, but she asked me certain questions. She said, are you getting palpitations? She's asked me questions around this now that I know that. But she didn't conclude that it was menopause. So, interesting. Okay, we're running out of time. We have 1 minute 53. Can you believe that? I mean, we thought we would even get to the end of this. I'm sure there's so many other things.
Yeah, because the tingling thing, actually, I've had my wrist MRI and I have an appointment to go and see a nerve doctor. Just because I had this tingling in, and it didn't stop and I was feeling numbness.
And they didn't suggest menopause?
No.
Isn't it interesting? Because you see, and I think that the thing here is that it's different so these are some of the symptoms, but
General.
not everybody will have all of them. Some people will not. So I guess if you have them isolated, maybe they won't. Like because I've had vertigo before, and I went and I said, I've had vertigo. Maybe she didn't, but looking at she was clearly looking at menopause as a possible thing.
Yeah, but maybe they should have menopause doctors. Like, doctors that just specialize in that.
I think more the fact that more people are talking about it will probably bring that to the front. But so far, people have been having to advocate for themselves. Like, I am not going crazy. This is happening to me.
But that's exactly it, because you think that you're going crazy, and because you can't really, there's nothing that you can, like you're saying, burning sensation. How am I going to explain that? There's so much that is, there's some that are obvious, like the night sweats, people know about that, and everything, but the other ones that are not so...
Especially like the headaches and the... I didn't ever think about it until I started to, like, the headaches and just the general just not feeling like yourself. Like, you just...
you know what 100% feels like, and then you just don't feel
like,
like...
I'm just not... I'm not dying, but something
20
is happening.
seconds to go. So, if this is happening to you, it's probably just perimenopause. Go and do some research. We're not doctors. This is just our experience. We're just talking about it. But let us know what you think. I don't know. Are you going through it? What have you done? Do follow us on YouTube and rock your own gorgeous. See you next time.